place I'd felt myself distant from emotions and feelings that were separate from the way I'd been. I knew myself as stricken by the values and codes that I once had taken in. My obedient place of worship and praise was discentered, and I knew not myself to be real. I felt like only one day I couldn't believe what I turned myself into. I knew that only being me had made me feel that I was underappreciated and underfavoured, to be disciplined in the same ways that many find themselves to be attracted to. But I felt not myself could be when I hadn't believed in such a thing as me. Nowadays I become less stricken by the values and worships, by the values and codes that I once had felt for me to be real with. I knew that myself had become sick, and I knew that I was distant to the place that I'd imagined myself to be. And I knew that not all things would be like me. But once I'd made myself a home, I knew that no thing could touch me. And that's when I felt the magic that one thing could find itself to be influenced by. I knew that the feelings that I once held would separate from me. I'd become more coordinated, and also coordinating my imagination, that I felt like it wasn't to be. I knew that in this world we can favour ourselves, and as a young child and also as we get older, we've always been the one that needs to beat everyone else. We're always the one that needs to be the best. We're always the one that needs to have the front foot in and be ahead of everyone else. We must always be in charge. We must always hold ourselves in discipline. But for some time I felt like it wasn't me that was being the best, that was being the one that beat everyone else. And that's when I realised myself ain't that. I'm the peace that allows others to be fully charged, and allows others to be fully beating, and allows them to be fully in place, to hold themselves as the best. And when I felt myself know this, then all I can do wherever I am is bring that peace, so others can be in charge. And it was once upon a time that I was the same, that I had to be the best, that I had to hold the conversation, that I had to be the leader, that I had to be in front. But once I left that behind, I felt more romantically engaged to what had made me see or reveal in myself that I was best placed to be the peace, to be the leader, and to be the one that can make it out, to a name that no one can imagine, and to a neighbour that no one believes in. But still my name can't be, if only one had fought for themselves. And on these days, I am less sick, I am less stricken, and more placed of where I am being. And the only reason I became sick is because I allowed myself to be disciplined and underkept by what I'd known myself to once be. The best, the beater, and the one that was always in front, the one leading and the one in charge. And once I left that behind, I became sick, I became touched and allowed others to actually beat me, allowed others to dominate me, and others to worship me. And that's when I felt like, what's going on? And I knew then that they weren't beating me, but that I'd found myself to be peace, where I allowed them to be themselves and speak what it is that they hold. And I knew this feeling to be me, and more real was it than any other thing that I've ever been engaged with. I felt sometimes that I couldn't feel myself, and I knew not myself to be real. And if I could say that encouraging myself to be less than real made myself more real, then I would feel for myself that some days I can't prepare what I have to not be. And that's the better one, the one in front, the one beating everyone. I can allow that to go and just hold my peace and allow myself to be the peace that I know I am and the peace that I know I bring. Like yesterday when I quoted that I am delusion, and what delusion shares with us in the world, that makes us all see where delusion sits, then peace isn't as much the same as what delusion is. It even allows those with delusion to access their beliefs and walk into a place that they can share and also fit with us, to show us what it is that they hold. And within this place, I knew myself to be asked, am I the one in need of favour, Am I the one allowing others to hold their favour? And I knew not that place that I could be, unless the worship that I had gained was not mine to take or mine to favour. And when I felt sick, I felt underappreciated, and I thought that others could give me what I needed to make me less sick. I asked such things. Could you just tell me what it is? Could you just give me the truth? But no one actually gave me the truth. They gave me what they believed for the truth to be. And I felt that at the time I was unwelcome to sit within society, and also felt myself unequipped to handle such responses. But I knew myself not to be encouraged by other people that had shared with me their way of being. And now that I had learnt myself to be how I am, and who I am, that peace that I enjoy being, and the peace that I enjoy bringing to neighbours, so that they can always be in front and always be in charge, then I welcomed into my side what I really am to the neighbours. I'm one that always will live alone. I'm the one that always will be alone. I'm the one that will never welcome anyone into my home. And I always will be peaceful where that is. And I always will be peaceful there where I am. But whenever I go outside of my home, then I still bring peace to the environment. I might go down the shopping centre. And when I'm there, I can see everyone fitted. They're more welcome to themselves, to be in front, to be in charge, and to be better than everyone else. And at the same time, I see that sometimes that's what we worship in these towns. And everyone is out there racing to be the best. And I only mean the best for when they get home. If they weren't the best, then they're under-disciplined. They become more quoted, more sexually dominated, and more underplaced to be pleasant and at peace. So if I find myself to be that peace, that I allow others to go home, so they don't have to wear themselves out and have to beat themselves when they get home, then I can allow myself to get home and be the same place that I am when I leave home. And that's the knowing that I have to hold myself. And I feel like in saying this, I'm trying to be better than everyone else, so that way they can't beat me. But that's when I realised no one is trying to beat you. They're just trying to beat themselves. And at the same time, some people might beat other people, or actually find that that's what we're all doing, and then try to dominate other people by actually beating other people, because that's what they think it is and what it actually means. But I can only talk for myself, as many have to say themselves, and other people might say, well, that's easy to say. But other people might attract to that and say, this one's easy to beat. Yeah, but I allow myself to be beaten. And when I become to be better, then I can allow them to beat me without beating me. So I'm bringing them the peace to stay in front. So when they get home, they haven't been beaten by anyone else. And that way they can always find their home and always be at home wherever they go. And they don't have to actually get home and go, yeah, I bet everyone that day. I was better than he. He's well under today. I can just stay where I am and find that that's all I need to actually do, is be better than everyone else. But not be better than everyone else than being better than yourself. Well, it's not beating others to beat others. It's beating others to keep yourself in place as the better beater. So when you beat yourself, what do you find you've been beaten by? It's when you haven't been at peace. And when you don't know yourself as who you are, then you find not yourself to be. And that's when you get beaten. And then you become sick with disorders and symptoms like I've been entrapped with these days, where I'm not too sure if it's me sometimes, or if it's another character in my mind, or if it's disorder or multi-personality, schizophrenia or delusions or bipolar, whatever it might be. But that's when I didn't know myself and I actually got beaten. So I became more like that. And when I realised that that wasn't me being beaten by them, that was me not knowing myself and underappreciating myself of where I sit. And it's like saying to a dog, these biscuits are dry, and the biscuits are wet. Now the dog believes the biscuits aren't wet, and he goes to eat them, but it's more of a drink. Now it's like that with anyone. To take your appreciation. You appreciate yourself to be seated where you believe yourself to be. But what makes you think you aren't dry? If you're wet, and it's not you that is being wetted, then what's made you feel not dry? The environment. The environment might make you sweat. And when you sweat in the environment, it shows you what you really feel and what you really are. Otherwise, the environment wouldn't make you sweat. It'd only be saying, these biscuits are dry today. You'd have no choice to drink them, but you still see them as not dry. which is the way that we're always birthed into the world. You know, the biscuits are dry, but really they're all wet. And we're trying to eat the biscuits, but it's more of a Slurpee. And that's when we find out, well, what made me sit on the dry biscuits, but find that the wet biscuits aren't mine. And that's when I take my beliefs. These biscuits were made for me. And that's where I feel appreciated. I don't need the world to appreciate me. I just need to realise that the maker wet these biscuits for me. And that's when I feel appreciated. I don't need to go out to the world and tell the world, look at me, I'm the son who saved the world today. You know, my father would already appreciate me by showing me my biscuits are wet, that my biscuits aren't dry. There's no need to eat them. It's a drink. And that's when I felt more welcomed in my place. You know, I no longer needed the world to encourage me to be sick and to try actually beat me for needing that worship and praise. It's already there for me to receive. My Father has made this for me. And that's the place that I am and the place I'm welcome to. And that's where I always will believe myself to be and where I always will sit. But at the time that I can't believe, then what do I find in myself? That I've not known myself to be that peace. And that's when people beat me. They don't beat me. They're keeping themselves better than themselves so that they get home themselves. When someone feels like they're being beaten by others, it's not the other person beating you. It's that person has to beat people to stay at home in their place. Otherwise, they're under and they're feeling like they've been beaten. So it's simple to take on. And it's also welcoming to appreciate. When you value yourself, you'll find your seat is already welcome. When you underappreciate yourself, you'll find your place isn't a cell. You'll dissolve all that you fought, all that you came to train yourself with. When you feel out of balance, you'll find your way. Just because it's not there today doesn't mean you're not welcome to the same. Every place that you could think, would it just be your stretch that no one could meet? Now I make myself real, only because I'm not favoured. I sentence myself to be seen, but some days aren't welcome. I feel for the day that I could believe. I feel for the day that I could say, if I shared this recipe, then would it make you bake or would it hold your plate? Now I know the truth. Some days you could melt, some days you could fathom. It's not really where you dwell, it's only the place that you find when you're underappreciated. Now some would say there's no way home, but all it takes is feeling it. Now I know it's the same for the whole world that sees me underweighted. I could try to expel, I could try to summon up some sort of spirit, or I could encourage myself just to sit in the place that I'm welcomed. For if my Father enjoys me, then I can make it always. And I know my Father showed me all dear company for my drive. So when I reach finally it, I'll know that I'm already high. And on those days I can welcome myself back to a place that I have been. For I can only imagine what I haven't yet shared and seen. So on the day that I finally quit, then I'll make it out, and I'll feel like it's right. For no place has ever made myself see that I can only find I'm welcomed from sitting behind. Till the day I came out, then I wouldn't find there's no way to fight. 'Cause only these days make me see. Not about you or me. No, it's about what you don't believe. So if you don't believe it, can you stop doing that, Jesus? Just let him bloody talk. Confuses everyone when you talk, Jesus. Stop doing that. Let him bloody talk. And that's what I mean about how I became sick. You know, I let so many influence me, but now I have their mind with me. So it's like I'm still sitting there where they beat me, and I'm talking with them. Because at the time I was finding who I am. And I didn't speak up sometimes when they were being better than me. So now they live with me always. But they're not really here. You know, I think that they're at home and they're actually hearing me and talking to me. But they're not. You know, it's back there where I was when I was trying to figure out who I am. Once I realised who I am, then my father had already made that seat for me. And that seat was already there. It's only once I took too much from people, because I felt like it was mine to take and I deserved it, that I lost so many friendships. I became more stricken by the values and beliefs and worshipped by the values and beliefs that I honoured myself to feel. What I really needed to do was go, shit, my father appreciates me. That's why he's sending so many gifts my way, sending so many people my way. Yeah. And then I felt like it's not always welcome. For some place that I don't make, ain't always for me. And it's the same with anyone. When you go looking for something, it won't be there, because it's not yours to make. But when you realise, shit, it's already on its way, then who made it be there? The one that already found you a seat the day you claimed yourself to be present. And when you find yourself not to be real, then what makes you less than real? If only that thing that finds yourself to be present. And when you're not present, he makes you present. And he brings you forward to the place that you sit. And when you sit in that place, then he'll always hold you in that place and keep you at base to what you find yourself to be real. And when you don't think of yourself, then no self can be seated. For no place has ever been made to feel like itself or feel like itself to be weighted. And no place can be made to not be real, unless it's not the realest place that you can make. And some people try to say, there's no way to escape. But other days of the week, you work away, just trying to find out what it means to take your place. But no place can be made for you. It's a place that you already walk into when you find yourself at home. And knowing yourself who you really are, then there's no need to make yourself real when you haven't felt like you weren't being real. So let's look at the instance when I share about stories with Marty. Marty feels like he wasn't real now because he got beaten by someone that didn't pay him back. He thought I was his friend and that I'd pay him back because we had trust together. But at the same time, he'd already broken that trust with me. So what made it right for me to actually want to pay him back, especially after he called me a dog. So Marty then doesn't feel real anymore. So now he has to make himself more real by making it up to me in many ways to show me that, yeah, we were family and friends. But now the ways that he's making up to me is by beating me, because now he has to be like my cousin's father. You know, he has to beat the father's son. You know, his brother's son, because he wasn't real to his son. So now he has to beat me more instead of showing me love and courtesy, because he feels like I wasn't his cousin when I didn't pay him back. But he'd already broken the trust. So really he's gone about it the wrong way, because he wasn't being real to me when he lied to me. So now he's underappreciated and underdeserving in his own seat, but finds out where he's romantically engaged and romantically welcomed to present forward more of a gift. Till the day he relinquishes his own feet, then I can never fully engage with him, for the bond hasn't been mine to make. It's his that wasn't trusted for I to believe in when he lied to me after banging the door all night. If he never lied to me, then I wouldn't have trust problems or concerns with him, and I would never have asked him to get drugs off him, because that only came into fruition once I was underfitted, when there was no trust there. So at the same time, he felt like himself was no longer real, when he had his friend or his family, his cousin break his heart and not pay him back when he thought I would. But he'd already broken his cousin's heart. So then Marty felt even less than being real, even less than real, and now had to go a different way about it, by making himself some sort of honourable representative to show the cousin the right way back home, after the cousin became beaten by it and was stricken by the values and became distorted by it. So Marty then had to become an example like a saint to show his brother that, yeah, I got home and you can get home. Otherwise, Marty would no longer be what he was. And Marty is no longer what he was, because he already wasn't real in both instances. So So Marty had to change. And that's the only way for his brother to come back to a place that he can actually honour himself and sit. But at the same time, in saying that, is that mine to judge? Or is it up to my father to welcome me to where I actually sit? And that's where the biscuits were made for me. Not where the biscuits were welcome to be dry. Where the biscuits were made for me to be. And at the same time, I can leave that as a situation, or I can leave that as present within me. And so there's no point for me to distract from myself what Marty maintains for himself to be kept as real, without myself being less than real. So for me to hold myself as real, I must go on encouraging people that I wasn't underfitted. And for me to keep my strength up, I must keep battering Marty. After he dogged me, but then showed people that I dogged him, but he wasn't the one that dogged me, because I hadn't dogged him. So now we're both under real, but yet one of us is trying to be real. But no one can engage with ourselves without ourselves being present. And at the same time, we can't find ourselves as petitioned. When Marty is the lead anchor for the reason I became sick. But he can't just now give me what I need to make me healed, because he has to keep himself real and maintain himself that he didn't dog me, to try and make me then some sort of obedient sinner under his worship place. And at the same time, I can't find what it means for me to relinquish that favour and relinquish that task without that beaded obvious state being less than real. So Marty must continue honouring himself to say that he favoured me when he gave me a ball on tick. But it wasn't a favour to me. I was favouring him because he had it sitting there. And it wasn't the best stuff, so I knew he wanted to get rid of it. So it was a favour to Marty, but he has to make it out like it was a favour to me. When I wasn't favouring he to receive. All I was doing something for he after someone asked me if I could do something for them. And at the same time, I thought, yeah, all right, I'll do 2 things for 2 people. But what will I receive? And I was going to pay Marty back 5 days after I said I'd pay him. But then I rang Marty, or Marty rang me to say, have I got that money? And I said no. He said, oh, you're a fucking dog. But I hadn't finished speaking. I was going to say, I'll have it in 5 days when I get my super out. So he would have said, oh yeah, that's all good then, you know. But already he called me a dog, so then it brought back to my mind when he dogged me. So I went, fuck it, I'm not going to pay him back. Which was right for me to call, after we're meant to be family. Now he broke my trust when he lied to me. Now he's broken my friendship and values of what we consider to be family when he's called me a dog. You know, if that was actually his real brother, he'd go, oh, what's going on? Something going wrong. You know, he'd actually sit there and talk to me. Because he'd already made himself less than real when he lied to me after banging the door, then he couldn't let me talk. He had to call me a dog because he's already on the back foot. Yes, mate. 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 You got that all good, mate. You got that all good, mate. You got that all good, mate. Which made me sick in the end. Yes, mate, but it made me hold you in place, son. You've got that all day. You've got that all day. Matty's fired up for the weekend long driver, mate. He's gone, mate. Matty is boiling to the whole tender, mate. Oh, mate. It's funny as fuck, mate. He's got his little blue ute parked out in front of the moment, Holly Bond number plates on it, you know. Every time I reverse out backwards and go down this because I have to drive off forward. So I see the number plates, you know, and it's got Holly Bond 1. And he tried to say that I owe him 1 from every 2 that I get. 2 points of gear. 1's for him, you know. I don't know if he's actually got magic powers and he ports it over to himself, or he just changed my stuff to piss me off because he still has to make himself real and beat me after being dogged. But a family member can't dog you. You know, it's not the family pet. You know, so if he always see me as the family pet, then he never was real to me. He was always fake. So when I saved his brother's dog at the house, and was the only one that stayed at the house when all the boys jumped the fence, and I tried to lock the door, and they held a knife to me. You know, I was there, the family pet, that protected the other dog. Yeah, I had a knife held to him. Yeah, shot in my jocks and left the jocks in his sink. Yeah, and that maybe was me being ahead of it, because he's never been real and it's actually a fake. Yep. And that's because he hasn't learnt his place of what he really is, a fake. Once he becomes knowing that he's a fake, then he won't have to beat other people in the same way. He'll just have to maintain himself as fake every day. And then he'll always be at home every night. See, myself, he brings peace. As long as I bring peace every day, then I can live where I am at night time. Yep. So Marty might be right revved up at the moment because he wasn't being real. But now as he learns himself to be fake, then all he has to do is be fake every day, you know? You won't be revved up. You're a mean murderer. Well, you always have to beat your brothers up. You know, you don't beat people that you just meet up. You always beat your brothers up no matter who you are. Yeah, that's true. So maybe Marty's main problem is it's gone back to be about them, mate. Yeah, I know it has. I know it has, because it's an example to show how we underweight ourselves sometimes. We don't know who we really are. So Marty might have always thought, this is who I have to be. You know, this is who I have to be. But when it's really actually who he is, then it changes the whole mindscape. Yep. Then Trav would never have been hurt when Marty lied to him about banging the door. Because that was just Marty being fake. Talk about yourself some more. Well, I'm the family pet. You know, there's not much in my day to talk about. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. In a place I was obedient. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, this little terror's talented, mate. This little terror's talented, mate. Yeah, I guess Peace would be pretty talented. I thought you were delusional, mate. Well, now that I've got disorders and shit as well, I'm Peace naturally. Like, that's who I am. I've always brought peace and made everyone feel encouraged to provide to me what they are. Like even Marty. You know, when he's around me, he's fully fake, you know? Yeah. Like, people bring themselves out when they're around me. Because you're peace. I'm so welcoming. Now I learned that. So I understand it's not people being evil around me. You know, it's not people being at home around me. It's that I am the peace that allows them to be at home. So no longer will it disturb me. Yep. But it's still hard to keep. But I'm sure that's one of Peace's troubles. To manage and sweat with or swear by. But if I was never sent to the mental ward, I'd always know I was the son. Because you had to go to the mental ward to check if you were the son or not. Your father stricken you. You should have already known you were the son. Yeah. You shouldn't have gone and asked. Is it mental illness? And other kids get told they're the son when they're young as well? And it's some sort of manipulation thing, like it's someone in the world doing it? Or is it actually only me that got told that and other kids just have mental illness? It's not actually because they got told they were the son. And that's what you asked. That's what I asked myself, yeah. So then I went to the mental ward to ask the doctors. The other kids, like I was going to tell them my story to see if other kids get told that they're the son as well. Then I'd learn if it's actually God whose son I am, or if it's something within the world telling all of us. No. And that's when my father would have beaten me and made me become this today. Yep. So in the end, you guys probably out there who have been trying to beat me, go, this is just my way of managing it, you know? Trying to say it wasn't any of yous that beat me. Yes. I was distorted and disorientated straight away when I asked that question. Yep. Then he sent me to the mental ward. Then I didn't know if I was his son or not. Yep. Fuck yeah. What a man. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I'm sure we had a plan somehow. So do you think he beats all those children who have mental illness, or is that the world beating them? That's tricky to say. We'd have to invite one of them to the table to have a talk with him. I know he's there with him though, trying to counsel him. So it's probably the way they've been treated. Probably, but couldn't say. They might have felt like they were worthy of something more than the father's seat. The father's seat that he made for them. That's right. But then other people came over them. But at the same time, it's the father coming over them to say, just sit. Yeah. Bloody hell. That's crazy. Peace, the quickest way to learn. Thank you, Marty, for allowing my father to use you to show the world what I'm learning. Otherwise, you've got a massive target and operation. I mean, the people on your books, mate. Must be huge, Marty. That's why Marty's probably feeling a bit pumped up by it all as well, mate. Yeah, because he thinks it's him. Really, it's your father. Father's beating me. You never said I'd be a priest, so... Yeah, but remember, once you say what you are, you know that thing. Ah, so I'm not a shaman. Well, you're not meant to be. No, I'm meant to be a priest. I'm a bit sick now, aren't I? Yeah, obviously. Took a while. Aye. Bloody murder. Oh well, son. At least we enjoy it. Yeah. Yeah. Neighbours out.